All right, so I'll call the Butler Township Board of Trustees meeting to order. The Tuesday, April 26, 2022 meeting at 6 p.m. Would you please stand for the Pledge of Allegiance?
Pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
All right, the next item on the agenda is approval of the minutes for the regular meeting of March 22nd, 2022. Are there any comments on that? Do I have a motion?
Make a motion to approve workshop meeting minutes from April 12, 2022.
A second?
A second.
Call.
Yes.
Yes.
Yes. Next are the workshop meeting minutes of April 12th, 2022. Are there any comments or questions on those? Do I have a motion?
I make a motion to approve the minutes.
A second.
Yes.
Yes.
Yes. All right. That brings us to the public hearing regarding case number ZC2-21, Yorkshire Reserve, Section 3, Final Development Plan, MPD-1, Plan Development Modification, per Article 19 of the Butler Township Zoning Resolution. Ms. Vogel?
Yes, Alan Schaefer has submitted an application on behalf of the owners and developers of 15.9 acres in the final section of Yorkshire Reserve Section 3. The zoning classification is PD1, Residential Plan Development, and the request is for a final development plan approval for the 15.9 acres. Zoning Commission held 3 separate public hearings regarding the case, November 16th, 2021, February 15th, 2022, and March 8th, 2022. The Zoning Commission recommended denial of the case on March 8th, 2022, and the Butler Township Trustees set the public hearing for March 26th, 2022. On April 25th, we received a modified application of the plan from the applicant for 44 lots instead of 48 lots for the development at 2.7 units per acre. And that is what is in front of the trustees for approval this evening. Mr. Alan Schaefer, if you want to take it from here and provide any other comments.
Thank you very much, Ms. Vogel. It was a concise presentation of the history of the project. As these things go, starting in November and working through a process, we have worked with neighbors. I don't know I recognize all the neighbors here that are here tonight, but the meeting that we had with neighbors that attended, and we, in addition, have had personal conversations with some of those neighbors. We, of course, have worked very closely with staff to see how we can work through this process to get something that everybody can live with. We think we've done that. When we first took a look at the project, we knew we could go ahead with 34 lots, but no green space, no separation, no thought at all for how this would impact the existing project. As you can see, the 15.9 acres. This is the latest iteration, which shows 44 lots. Original application we were talking about in November was 51 lots. As I said, 34 is allowed. What the 34 lots don't show are any of the green space. There's 2.87 acres of green space that have been included into this project. Now, what that does do is make the lots, to a degree, somewhat smaller but not appreciably so. In sections 1 and 2, there is no common green space of this nature. The green space really is included in the slightly larger lots that are contained in sections 1 and 2. This green space approach, given the current state of affairs and development, the need and desire to want to make this as compatible as possible with sections 1 and 2. We think that the common area green space, 2.87 acres, really does the trick. What going to 44 lots, reducing down to 44 lots total, has allowed us to do is, especially along the lots that run across the top, if you will, that are currently developed facing Yorkshire Drive, the green space behind all those lots has been increased. So, for instance, because we've gone to 44 lots, we were able to increase that green space, giving further buffering to that existing housing, which is most affected by this project. We've done traffic studies. We've done civil engineering studies, and we have done evaluation study that all were based on 51 lots. All those studies contain positive ultimate conclusions as to impact. So, for instance, traffic, there was no problem at 51 lots. We're down to 44. The civil engineering, this project with the green space allows us to really take a much more innovative approach to the existing drainage that exists out there. If we'd have stayed with the original 34-lot project, all that drainage would have gone across Yorkshire into the existing drainage basin that's really along Peters Pike there. This allows us to retain some water on this side of the project, and it wouldn't have overburdened where the arrow is because it was designed initially to handle the whole project. But it makes it a much more effective from an engineering standpoint to be able to deal with the drainage issues that currently exist. And we know that that's a real hot spot. It was made perfectly clear to us by the residents that it is, and we intend fully to, and have talked to Montgomery County about this project on multiple occasions. We have great engineering with a company called Choice One, and we will be taking care of the drainage issues that exist there. The third key, or the third aspect of this presentation that we submitted, included a 32-page valuation document. Valuation document designed to take a look at this project, first of all, from the standpoint of what it would look like with full build-out as originally proposed, and then what it will look like as proposed, including 44 lots, and what impact will there be on the value of existing versus what we're putting in. And that value issue actually works both ways. We certainly wouldn't want to put what we think are market price houses on our project, but create an issue that automatically causes some sort of depreciation. At the same time, we certainly don't want to depreciate values on the other side. We want this project to be successful for everybody. And at 51 lots, the recommendation or the conclusion that came out of this 32-page study, which really is, it's a pretty unique study in this kind of a situation, because it's a very difficult study to make. Putting a slightly smaller lot, but market price housing into the 15.9 acres, and especially a lot of emphasis placed on the green space separation that's been created. The recommendation, the conclusion drawn by our expert in that arena was that that the impact will be neutral to positive on both sides of the equation. The elevations that we presented and showed have not changed because we're working still with that same builder. The prices that they are quoting, starting with houses just over 1,600 square foot up to 2,500 square feet plus, are in the $340,000 range up to $430,000 range. So we're not putting starter houses in here at $165,000 with smaller smaller situations. The 1,627, I think 1,672 square foot house is actually a story, a one-story facility, and that's a $340,000 house. So we think that the elevations, the product that we have planned for the project will very much support the same valuations in the existing sections 1 and 2. In 2021, the county records tell us that the 3 houses that sold in 2021 sold for $350,000 and $315,000, and 2 of those houses were right there on Yorkshire Drive. And then there was one for $340,000 that's up further in the project. So the pricing that we're calling for these newer houses in this project are right there. There's no diminution or significant difference in the values at all. I think that pretty much concludes my presentation. One thing I'd like to add is that the zoning commission meeting, there were no questions from the zoning commission concerning any of our traffic, civil engineering, or valuation conclusions. There was certainly some commentary about the fact that the civil engineering has to be right on target and needs to deal with that drainage issue. But other than that, there was, for the lack of a better word, acceptance that with the discussions we've had with the county engineer on multiple occasions and the requirements that we're going to have to meet in order to get this done, that issue will be taken care of, and the Montgomery County Engineer's Office will ensure that does happen. My point being that the zoning commission decision, although negative, in discussions after the meeting with those individuals off the record, I want to make sure it understands off the record, so none of that's binding, is that really 48 lots were too many. 51 we already knew were too many, and 48 were too many. That's why we're working with however we're going to do this, and coming down to the 44 lot approach, and also working with the trustees in a workshop session on the issues, being able to come in with the 44 lot modification is where we are today. The law clearly states that the Board of Trustees has the legal ability to approve a modification, and this is a modification to what has been determined by what the zoning commission's already seen. They, of course, didn't see the 44 lot one. So I think we've covered all the bases. We're excited about it. Some of the citizens' feedback has been of a positive nature. We haven't gotten feedback from everybody who attended. I was looking for Mr. Cheka.
Yes.
That's how you pronounce his last name?
That is his name, yes.
Yeah. And he's been very involved. He's not here tonight. I don't know why. But
I did forward him the plan, the
okay,
44 lot, yeah.
Yeah. And he indicated verbally after the meeting. It's off the record, and I understand that from his perspective, something in the 44 lot range would work. But I don't want to indicate that I speak for him. I'm just telling you what he told me.
And
If
you don't mind too, I just wanted to add on the size of the lots. So the average lot size is, I think I put it in here. So these are just some comparables on adjacent or neighboring developments, but this final is the 44 lots. So the average lot size that is being proposed in this 44 lot plan is just over a quarter acre for the average. The minimum lot size, which is 3 lots in the plan, is 7,579 square feet, which is 0.174, I believe.
You said that's the minimum lots?
Yeah, there's 3 lots that are 0.17, or actually 2, I'm sorry, 0.174, 2 lots, but if you include the green space behind them, they get at 0.23 acres. So everything, I mean, averages around a quarter acre, with the largest lot size being 0.441 acres. So just wanted to add that.
I should add also, thanks for taking that pause so I could remember this. Another addition that's going to take place outside the 15.9 acres is a drop lane going south on Yorkshire to allow right-hand turn only onto Yorkshire. Now it's a single lane. If you're turning left onto Yorkshire, traffic backs up and can't get around. Now there'll be a left turn and a right turn to allow better movement of traffic. So we think that's a strong addition to the project also. But I have in here for any questions that you might have.
There's that turn lane.
So
there's that drop turn lane. I said there's that drop turn lane.
Yeah. Yeah. So if you have any questions, I'm here to answer them.
So the next portion, we'll just call up proponents to talk. Thank you, Alan, or Mr. Schaefer. Appreciate your comments.
Thank you.
If we have proponents in the audience tonight, please feel free to step up to the microphone over there. State your name and address for the record, and we will limit you to 5 minutes. And we ask that you not repeat other information that others have communicated.
Tessie Smith. I'm at 3164 Northerton Court. So I had a couple questions. Like, one of the questions, who the builder was going to be. I had heard that it might have changed. So that was one of the questions I had asked.
So the original builder that we brought in was D.R. Horton. And we did, during this process, another builder did. I'm sorry. Excuse me. Yeah. So we originally started out with D.R. Horton. The elevations that are included in the project are D.R. Horton elevations. We had another builder who appeared during the middle of this process. Quite frankly, the product was very similar to the D.R. Horton product. But in the process of negotiating the situations where we are right now, D.R. Horton is the builder we're going to be going with.
Yes, thank you. So I guess our concern is that we've done some research and we have found some negative and I don't even know yeah.
I'm Serena Mason, and I reside at 3148 Northerton Court. And so we were the second home built in Yorkshire. She was the third. So we've been there for quite some time. And We are opposed to this builder. We have pulled up on the internet, and they have nothing but negative reviews. And we are concerned because we do not want our home value to decrease. Because, this is a big investment, that you make, building a home. So that's a concern that we have. The other issue was that the third plan originally consisted of 34 homes, and now it has gone down to 44. Well, first it was 55 in January, and then it went down to 44, but the original plan consisted of 34 homes. And I think that would be about right where it should be anyway, because our homes, as they sit now, they're not on top of each other. We do have a lot of space in between our homes, and we don't want small homes being stacked up on top of each other and have a cookie cutter community. We don't have that now. We have a lot of different elevations on our street, so you can't tell that it's the same, home. The other issue that we have is that we were supposed to have brick front and wrap, and then no siding at all. And so my question is, when I ended up looking at a lot of these homes, it does not have that same requirement that we had originally in the original plans.
And I can respond to that real quick. They included the same building elevation materials that is in the requirements and the covenants for Yorkshire Section 1 and 2. So they copied it, and we also had them add a section in there that said no elevation next to one another would be the same. So it is, and the required materials are hardy plank, stone, brick, just no vinyl whatsoever, so they can't do any vinyl. So they have incorporated all those same requirements, so just so you're aware of that.
Okay. But if you look up the Better Business Bureau, I do want you all to do that. This particular builder has a lot of bad ratings, and we don't want them in our community. And a lot of claims against them as well. I had heard some rumblings that maybe Fisher Homes was going to come into the community. That would be a better builder than this particular builder here. But we do have a lot of concerns about D.R. Horton.
Also, Mr. Schaefer talked about the traffic and the surveys or research that was done. So I guess my question is, did anybody get to see, did they publish any of those reports for and does the council get to see the traffic? Because another possibility could have been to another entrance off of Little York instead of, going back through the neighborhood. So that's just something that,
Yeah, that was evaluated.
Okay.
Yeah, the traffic, it was during the zoning commission hearing processes, they presented all that information.
Okay.
The board has had copies of the traffic analysis and the reports.
Okay. So everybody gets to see those to make
Yes.
sure that, okay, all right.
Yes.
And then you were saying that 1,600 square feet is the minimum size of the home? That's pretty small relative to what our homes are. I mean, those are really small. I mean, like our first level is 1,600, the first story. So those are really small homes, and I don't think that would be a good fit for Phase 3 in our community. And I know that Missy lives in our community because we walk past her house a lot when we walk in the morning. So, but I don't know if everyone else, lives over off of, by Yorkshire. But, I would welcome you to just kind of walk around, to kind of see how our homes are and then see how, this proposal would fit into that community before you make a decision. Okay? Thank you.
Thank you.
Hello. My name is Russell J. Yocum III, 3156 Northerton Court, 45414 for the zip. Also, I am opposed to this as well. I echo both Tarina and Tessie's comments in regards to the BBB, and there's multiple websites out there that kind of dictate a negative rating for D.R. Horton. Myself personally, I would not like this builder within our development just because of the negative reviews and the multiple class action lawsuits that are with multiple states. And again, I understand the traffic was worked out, but in my opinion, I think it's going to make it a little bit more difficult getting out of our development. Right now, I think we actually need a stoplight just due to the traffic and stuff like that. With this influx of builders, I believe it would cause more congestion with the traffic, even though a traffic survey was done. I would ask the board to just do a simple Google research on D.R. Horton and look at the reviews from multiple states. The facts are out there. They have negative reviews. So that's all I have. Thanks.
Thank you. Anyone else like to speak? Mr. Schaefer, would you like to comment, have any rebuttals about the comments?
So the facts speak for themselves when it comes to D.R. Horton. This issue was first brought up in November. We took it very seriously. We have laid this information in front of D.R. Horton, asked them for their responses. There's no question that D.R. Horton has had legal problems elsewhere in the United States. They happen to be the largest builder in the United States, so they're putting a lot of product out, and they have been sued. They had one project where their subcontractor messed up on the sewer and water infrastructure that was installed. That was a multi-million-dollar case. I mean, that's big, and they had to step up and fix it. We don't have any lawsuits pending in the local jurisdictions against D.R. Horton. They have, on multiple occasions, come back to us and said that at price points in the $340,000 to $430,000 range, they can't afford to play games with quality or workmanship. That's a market that demands value for what they're getting. D.R. Horton has assured us, for whatever that's worth, that they are very sensitive to the reputation that is out there about them, and doing everything they possibly can to make sure that that reputation is pushed aside, because they believe, in their heart of hearts, that across the board, that their product is a good product in the market. And as I said, in the local market especially, they have seemed to be very successful.
Do you mind if I add to that, Missy? Just for the record, too, that comment was brought up during the zoning commission process about the lawsuits and the building, the quality, and I did reach out to local jurisdictions in Montgomery County building regulations and talk to the chief building official, and he did note that he has had no problem with the company in terms of in Montgomery County and the building projects in Montgomery County. He said that one good thing about them is that they are very good about making sure that most of the items are done prior to people taking ownership or occupancy, where a lot of times a lot of the builders will have a punch list of items that are still left, and they'll just get a temporary certificate of occupancy, not a full certificate of occupancy. So he was very positive in that aspect, that they have been good to work with in this area. So just wanted to let you know that.
Great. Mr. Schaefer, do you have any more comments before we, okay. All right. Let's see. So that brings us to comments from the Board of Trustees. Trustee Jackson, do you have any comments?
I would like to say, first of all, thank you all for coming out and having a voice in this process. Greatly appreciate that. I also want to acknowledge the developer's patience with this process. I know that you all have gone through a number of meetings up to this point, and appreciate the way that you have shown us your desire to work with the residents and go through this process with us. My one concern is the zoning commission and what happened back in March. My thought there is that I would love us to have the opportunity for them to see this revised plan as well, instead of us making a decision off on our own. But that is just a comment on my end.
So, and I'm going to kind of echo what Bryson has said, but I know we've, with Erica spoke out with a lot of the zoning commission people, basically with the revision, and they basically are saying that they're not going to, it's going to pass there if it doesn't pass here tonight. So, and that would be June at that point. So it can kind of go either way, but I think it's going to probably pass one way or the other. So it'll be up to us tonight to make that decision.
Yeah, I mean, it would be definitely a process. We would have to go, I mean, we would have to take it back to the board to review. And the comments that the zoning commission members, I mean, speaking individually, the remaining issue was density, although it wasn't really made clear during, I guess, the final decision. Density was what everybody was kind of hanging their hat on. So I think that the 44 lots does make a big, stride to moving things forward. So, obviously we can't speak for all the zoning commission members, and that's just, they would have to have their hearing if that was the case, if it went back to them. But I think density was the issue, the main issue.
So I want to thank you all, residents, builder, attorney, for all the respect that we've shown each other during this stressful proposed development process. I am very pleased that you guys have worked with our zoning commission to make amendments to your proposed plan. I still have concerns about the proposed plan. I feel like that it is still too dense. I have concerns about going against the zoning commission's decision because they are a recommending body to us. I just have other concerns about the price point because in some memos back in February, the price point started out at $350, and then tonight we heard $340, but in my memo tonight dated April 26th, it says $335. So I'm concerned about the price point of the minimum home that will be built in there, in that proposed development. And so for those reasons, I'll be voting no tonight. So I'll close the public hearing, and we'll call the vote.
A motion. Need a motion.
Yeah. Do you have a motion?
I make a motion to vote on case number ZC2-21, Yorkshire Reserve, Section 3, Final Development Plan, and PD-1, Plan Development Modifications per Article 19 of the Butler Township Zoning Resolution.
I have a question. Are you voting to table it to go back to zoning commission, or voting to deny it or approve it?
Okay, can we open it up back up for discussion? I suppose we should clarify, because it would be my recommendation
When
that...
I said I'm voting no on the development.
Okay, I understand. It would be my recommendation and desire to send it back to the zoning board for their approval or denial.
I'll second that.
Do you understand?
So the recommendation is to,
Sorry, Mr. Brush.
So you're making a motion recommending table it now and send it back to the
zoning commission.
Yes, sir.
Mr. Jackson.
Yes.
Yes.
No.
It passes 2-1. We'll go back to the vote.
Thank you.
Okay, thank you. Yes, I will get with you. Thank you.
Talking about the three that spoke? I do not. They're all in the back row.
I'm sorry, what?
I've got it. Yeah, I know everybody. Yeah, we're good.
There you go.
Open public comments for other public comments.
All right, so we're moving on to item 5 on the agenda for public comments. Would anyone like to address the Board of Trustees this evening? You'll have 5 minutes. Please don't repeat other people's comments. Thank you. Good evening, Mr. Oakes. Would, yes, please state your name and address for the record.
Richard Oakes, 1397 Jackson Road, west of Procter & Gamble. I'm actually here tonight to help you guys. Things are interestingly going on Jackson Road. If anybody wants to drive out there and take a look, you'll see a big hole at the end of my old farm lane and stuff like that. What I want to draw your attention to, sorry to put you to work, but I'm going to run through these very quick because 5 minutes does not even begin to deal with the issues and the problems that are going on. If you want to take a glance here at this picture, this is the one that came from the Transportation Improvement District. It shows the master plan of all the roadway improvements. And you think you got problems on Jackson Road? Wait till they start dealing with County Line Road. And we can talk about that. The next one that looks like this. Oops.
This one.
The one that looks like this is simply off of Google. It's north is up Jackson Road running east and west with Frederick Pike over to the far left side. That white line that you see drawn across there is where the existing north curb is at P&G, projected straight through the same distance north of the current center line of Jackson Road. And off the right edge is where the current concrete stops on the right end over here. And then over to the left end is just east of Frederick Pike. So I call your attention to the group of houses. If you look at the next sheet that zooms in on that a little bit, you'll also see how close it all gets to those houses. That's the curb. That's not the right-of-way. So the curbing would be a single-digit feet distance away from the front of those houses. Erica, you'll recall that you and I had conversations on this next sheet here from IBI, who's the consulting civil engineering firm for the Transportation Improvement District. If you look in the lower right-hand corner, you'll see a date of May of 2021. This is a drawing that you and I have been looking for, Erica, that we never saw, if you'll recall that, and I just got this a week and a half ago.
We just got, the permit was just submitted to us yesterday for Jackson, so we've not reviewed it yet, but we received it yesterday from the TID.
Well, they've had it ever since October. So I then took that drawing, and this is just a snippet of the one portion of it there. And there's multiple lines on here, but I highlighted this area, sort of it's a reverse S curve to transition from the two southmost lanes that are each 12-foot wide to, as Jeff, you know, that Jackson Road is only 16 feet total width to transition through that. What I'm trying to alert you to is the fact that the City of Union is aggressively pursuing pushing this roadway. My neighbor emailed me the text message that all of you got copies of, and such as that. And I'm under the threat of eminent domain right now because I've been trying to hold the line to get the right thing done, to get a cul-de-sac eventually at the end of the old farm lane where the current concrete stops, because now's a perfect time to do that, because on that master plan that I showed you with the roadway, it's now going to be called Douglas Way after Doug Baldwin, who unfortunately died as a result of COVID first part of the year. It makes sense to put the cul-de-sac on that end with the open end to Frederick Pike, and therefore turn the new Douglas Way that runs north and south. It'll terminate up at currently at Old Springfield Road. So there is a way out, despite what you know, Mr. Applegate is saying in his responses back to Erica and stuff like that. I would urge you to, and that even means if I have to meet with you one-on-one, because we can't have two of you together, otherwise it turns into a public meeting as such. But with Erica and each one of you on your schedules to sit down and go in detail, because I'm just barely brushing the surface of all the impacts that are going to affect Butler Township explicitly with what's being proposed. There's the plat up at Furnace Road itself. That's going to be greatly impacted with a number of these things. I will answer any question right now, but time is of the essence because Mr. Applegate wants to go out there and start moving dirt to implement this drawing right here, right now, tomorrow, next day, first part of the week, right now.
So, Richard, just so you know, our plans that we received yesterday have a date of April 2022. Sorry, that was timer. 5 minutes, you were perfect. You were perfect on your 5 minutes.
I try.
But yes, their new submittal, the plans, just first brushing over them, they are different from what we looked at originally. We have not sat down and reviewed them yet, not talked to the county yet. Obviously, we got to work through the county and reviewing those as well. But they are dated April 2022, and they were received yesterday in our office. So that's kind of where we're at.
That may have been the drawing that I did. It all depends. Does it look like the one that I handed you that had IBI on it? Then I haven't seen that.
It does not, no.
Okay.
It's different.
Can you email that to me?
I will email you the plans tomorrow, yes.
Tomorrow? Okay. And I'll be happy to run over to your office or do whatever.
Okay.
Because I'm trying desperately to look out for the dozen or so residents. Mr. Fink is here tonight also as one of the residents of Butler Township. And that's one of the reasons I didn't sell the whole woods off is because of my neighbors to the south side, et cetera, and stuff like that. But I would be very interested to see because the date of April the 22nd is kind of suspicious to me. Anything else right now? Because I would love, there's a lot more to go over with you all. That's really, really important. Any questions? Thanks to all of you.
Are there any other comments?
I'm Douglas Fink from 1352 Jackson Road, kind of cat a corner from Richard. I just wanted to echo everything Richard had to say. He's the engineer. He's the guy with the brains doing all this stuff. But what really concerns me is the lack of transparency. You know, you listen to politicians for the last decade, and all they want to talk about is how transparent they are, how we're going to tell you what's going on. It's not happening on Jackson Road. You know, I don't feel like Butler Township is being as transparent as they could be, although they seem like they're getting a little better. But Union is woefully inadequate when it comes to that. I mean, they are directly affecting Butler Township residents, and they don't have to say a word. Next thing you know, you got a bulldozer in your front yard. That's when you find out there's something that's going to happen. Well, I said, how are they allowed to do that? I mean, where do we go? Who's in charge? You know, I've been associated with the military, Wright-Patterson Air Force Base my whole life. And we always just went up the chain of command until you found out the answer. Where's the chain of command? You know, who do you go to next is what I'd like to know.
I can speak in the sense that I attended a Union City Council meeting, their last one last month, with a number of residents that are up on Old Springfield, expressing concerns about noise from the recent development right behind them, and dealing with what we were trying to draw the council's attention to, because in years of dealing with Mr. Applegate, we recognized that Mr. Applegate is wanting to do what Mr. Applegate wants to do,
right,
and is ready to act accordingly and not allow himself to be accountable to Butler Township residents. But what we wanted to draw the council's attention to over in Union, as they have 3 new members to the city council, was that the plight of Butler Township residents. So there were a number that I went with last month and just at least pleaded with them and said, if you could be aware of what's going on over here and the way in which your development is impacting residents. And I was honest with the city council members after. I just said, listen, we have residents that are coming to us with issues that we do not have the power to solve for them. And if you please would have the compassion to, you know, hear them out and hear what's happening and act accordingly. To which I was not given any assurances and was not given any kind of clear plan of action. But I can, you know, speak on our behalf that I think, you know, we all are ready to, you know, assist in any way that we can. It's very difficult where Union has come in, annexed land that was prior under our control, and these are issues that we are doing everything in our power to do, but it's difficult as city municipalities coming in and taking control in areas we do not have say over.
Yeah, well.
Yeah. Also, just another comment. So I meet about once a month with Greg Seafried up there in Monroe Township, and that's all we talk about is how do we stop Union. And they have the same. They feel like they're really even further in the dark than the Butler Township because they don't have near as many active. You know, their voice is not as big as probably ours.
Right.
But they know that their union's getting ready to just come up and they're going gun-ho up there.
Yeah,
they don't know what to do.
It's nuts. I mean,
it's $1 million question.
I mean, how do they get all this development and then they don't really have to be responsible for it? I mean, there's police and fire and ambulances run up and down Jackson Road all day long. My lady friend lives at the corner of Dayton, Riverside, and Kettering. When I go to her house, I might hear an ambulance once or twice a week. It's 3 or 4 times a day on Jackson Road at different times. And it's crazy. And then also feel like the traffic situation kind of like in a no man's land because of the jurisdiction is so much convoluted that maybe Butler Township doesn't want, well, you know, that's their property, you know, that's their concern. And Union turned around, no, that's Butler Township, we're not going to mess with it. You know, so, yeah, it's very, very, very frustrating, very frustrating.
Yeah, and you're not the only one we're hearing that from, and we're trying to figure out how to,
yeah.
We don't have all the players playing well in the same dog.
Right, yeah.
Understand, though, that we do hear you,
Oh, yeah.
and you know, it's something that we talk about at length. You know, I can speak, you know, for all of us that this is something that we hear and understand and are.
Well, I mean, you know, in my view, can't you go to the county and say, hey, look, Or if the county doesn't work, can't you go to the state and say, hey, something's got to happen, you know? We've got to have some cooperation here. We just can't let this guy come out here. You know, I understand the need for development. We need jobs. People need to work. But, you know, you don't necessarily want to have a warehouse in your backyard either, especially when you moved out there 17 years ago, nothing but cornfields. So, anyway, appreciate your time.
Thank you, Mr. Fink. Anyone else? Certainly, Mr. Oakes.
As you know, I've been working with Greg Seafried. I know. And because I have 3,000 feet of the road frontage on the south side of County Line Road between Peters and Dogleg Road. And I've been striving to do the right things as far as Pioneer Will Electric and some stuff like that. And there's a lots of balls in the air on that. You guys have as much authority on Jackson Road as what the City of Union has on the new road they're building right up against your north right-of-way line on Jackson Road, because their end game there is to not build on you so they can do what they want to do, but recognize this, you have as much permit authority as they do, because you have to issue the permit for them to tie in to Jackson Road, whether it's down there in front of my house or what was done over west of P&G. They got to come on your right-of-way. And I would urge you to check with your counsel, which is supposed to be the county prosecutor, to see if you want to file an injunction against them to do the right thing for your at least starting a minimum of a dozen township residents, like Mr. Fink right here. And Mr. Trick is back up there, and he lives in the southwest corner of County Line and Dogleg Road. He knows all about that, and we talk, and he's my neighbor up there also. So you got more power than what you think you might have. Just exercise it, because I'm going to be hit with a eminent domain procedure, and the operative words in eminent domain is, you probably know more about this than I do, Missy, of purpose and need. There is no purpose, there is no need to extend Jackson Road west of the new north-south roadway. None. Where's it going to go? All it's going to do is cause problems for all of these guys down at Frederick Pike and Jackson, plus destroy all those houses along the north side there. You have more power than you think you've got. Thank you again.
By the way, Greg speaks highly of you.
Well, he's a good engineer.
All right, any last comments from the audience? All right, so we'll move on to the next item of business, administrator's recommendations. We will begin with resolution number 22-16.
22-16, a resolution authorizing the township to participate in Ohio Township Association Group Retro Rating for BWC claims through Sedgwick. Our premium for this year is $4,480, and we are estimated to receive a $20,076 in refunds.
Right. Do the trustees have any comments on this item? No? Do I have a motion?
No comments. I make a motion to approve resolution number 22-16, a resolution authorizing the township to participate in the Ohio Township Association Group Retro Rating Program for BWC claims through Sedgwick. Yes.
Yes.
Okay, resolution 22-17, a resolution appointing Catherine Grambowski to the Butler Township Board of Zoning Appeals. The trustees received a letter of interest from Ms. Grambowski, and we have one vacancy from Mike Tyne, who served on the Board of Zoning Appeals previously. That would fulfill his term through the end of December, and then at that time she could be reappointed to a new term.
Comments or questions from the trustees?
No comments.
Do I have a motion?
She's very qualified.
Sorry.
I think she'll be do a good job there.
Okay. Do I have a motion?
Yes, I make a motion to approve resolution number 22-17, a resolution appointing Catherine Grombowski to the Butler Township Board of Zoning Appeals. Yes.
Yes.
Okay. Resolution 22-18, a resolution appointing Dr. William Breeding as the Butler Township Fire Department Medical Director. Our current medical director, Dr. Paul Zeich, is retiring. He's served the township for 35 years as the medical director. And Chief Alig reached out to both Premier and Kettering Networks, and Dr. William Breeding was the person that everybody was recommending and the one that was interested to fill the role. So he will assume the role effective May 1st of 2022. Dan, do you want to add anything else, or? Okay.
Drug baggage.
Another. What's your timer? You're done.
Your time's up.
Because we serve under their license. So. Dr. Paul Zeich had been very active and been a township resident, I think, for all those 35 plus years. And so he was a great medical director for us, and now he's retiring, and we're in need of somebody, and Dr. Breeding was willing to help out.
Any comments or questions from the board?
No comments.
Do I have a motion?
I make a motion to approve resolution number 22-18, a resolution appointing Dr. William Breeding as the Butler Township Fire Department Medical Director. Yes.
Yes.
Okay, resolution number 22-19, a resolution adopting a job description for battalion chief and updating the job description for assistant chief in the fire department. You guys were provided with both of those descriptions. Chief Alig has been working on creating this new position and creating opportunities for our captains to fill this new role as they finish their degrees. So one captain is very close to moving into that role, and another one close behind him. So once this is done, we will assume the battalion chief positions, and then once everybody assumes that position, the captain positions will go away. So it's not creating new positions, just allowing some opportunity for the existing captains. You good?
Well said. So yeah, this is.
But he still wants to talk.
I'm still going to talk. I got 5 minutes. Yeah. This is something I've been working on for I'd say almost 10 years of getting, our captains to the level of the battalion chief. And so we set out a plan, which finally coming together with our recent. Now we've had the same group of captains now for over 2 years now, working on 3 for Tyler Mangus. And so as part of being in line with other departments around here for what they do and how they run their shift in the operations, part of the plan was some of the educational opportunities I thought was important for them to obtain, and we're finally getting to that part. And so come up with that job description that that puts them in line with educational and experience requirements that will match. And it will open up opportunities for them. It allows them to get into some other educational opportunities at the state fire academy and some of the executive fire officer classes at the National Fire Academy. So it's a good opportunity, and they're excited about it. Captain Mangus is very excited because he graduates, I think, next Friday from St. Clair. So he'll have his degree, and hopefully Chris Batts is soon behind him, and then Adam Marshall is working on his stuff. So that's pretty much it. If you have any questions.
Anyone?
I just have 2 comments. First comment is thank you for your efforts for leadership development in those areas. That is awesome. And also, I just want to say, battalion chief, that sounds pretty cool as opposed to captain. So.
A little harder to spell.
Yeah.
Yes.
I know, it was a tough one.
All right, do I have a motion?
Yes, I make a motion to approve resolution number 22-19, a resolution adopting a job description for battalion chief and updating the job description for assistant chief in the fire department. Yes.
Yes.
Okay, resolution 22-20, a resolution authorizing the service director to purchase a Mower Max boom mower from AtMax Equipment for the service department. We have talked about this piece of equipment in a couple different meetings, I believe. So the total cost is $211,700. It includes 2 upgrades, a front lift, and rotary deck. This is on a state bid contract through ODOT, so we did not have to advertise for bids. It is on their state contract list, and it'll be paid for out of the Permissive Motor Vehicle License Tax Fund, as well as our TIF districts, the Singing Ridge and Harson TIFs, for mowing of right-of-ways in those areas. This came in over budget, like everything else is seeming to be, so it was $19,700 over budget. So we would need to increase appropriations in the Permissive Motor Vehicle License Tax Fund in that amount, $19,700. So this resolution accomplishes both those things.
Any comments from the board? Nope.
No
Do I have a motion?
I make a motion to approve resolution number 22-20, a resolution authorizing the service director to purchase a Mower Max boom mower from Max Equipment Company for the service department.
Merry Christmas.
Thank you.
Yes.
Yes.
Okay, resolution 22-21, a resolution authorizing the administrator to purchase a Dell server for the township and enter into an agreement with Trustpar for its install and implementation. The estimated total cost for the Dell server was $11,250. They have received about $1,000 in savings, so it is going to come in slightly lower. So that is good news. So there will be additional money there for any further upgrades or equipment that is needed. And then I know we've talked about this in a workshop. We're not moving forward right now with the 365 that we talked about. We're still looking into ways that we can improve what we're doing with that in terms of user fees and things. So we're waiting on that, but for now we're going to get moving on the server.
All right. Do I have a motion?
Yes. And no comments. I make a motion to approve resolution number 22-21, a resolution authorizing the administrator to purchase a Dell server for the township and enter into an agreement with Trustpar for its install and implementation. Yes.
Yes. All right. So that brings us to informal business. Chief Porter, would you have anything to report to us?
Nothing to report on township business. However, I do want to invite the trustees and other staff and residents to the Montgomery County 15th Annual Law Enforcement Officer Memorial Ceremony, which will be held Friday, May the 6th at 11 a.m. at Riverscape. It will be, once again, back off of our COVID schedule. We will be honoring the 40 Montgomery County law enforcement officers who died in the line of duty over the past 142 years. Myself and Chief Oldhouse are two of the board members that produced the memorial, and one of our keynote speakers is Attorney General Dave Yost, and the law enforcement survivor speaker is Amanda Holloway. She is the wife of Dayton Police Department Officer Thad Holloway, who shot in the line of duty approximately a year ago.
Thank you for the invitation. Chief Alick, do you have anything for us this evening?
Only bring one thing to your attention. First out fire engine, engine 88 is good news and bad news. Like the cost of everything's going up. It has a turbo engine problem, which is under warranty. Problem is no one knows when they'll get the part. Could be 2 weeks to 2 months to 3 months. But we have been assured that they fill out a special form and we go to the top of the list because we are in the fire service. So we're waiting to find out tomorrow what that would really mean. But just wanted to bring that to your attention just so you're aware. That's all I have.
All right, thank you. Mr. Barnett.
The asphalt program is finished up. That's township roads and county roads. Although I do not have the official quantities in yet, I was told through
by Barrett that our quantities came in as they were supposed to, so there should be no surprises cost-wise. The street sweeper is back up and running finally. $3,000 in repairs on that. That didn't give me much but some belts. So anyway, cost of doing business is going up everywhere. So, but anyway, yep, asphalt's done, street sweeper's back up and running.
Do you strictly get asphalt from Barrett, or do you go to other vendors?
We personally mainly use Valley
Okay.
asphalt. Barrett they won the contract with the county program, so that's why. And they have had it for
Years.
The 4 years I've been here. Barrett's won that contract all 4 years. So.
But you use Valley.
We tend to use Valley mainly because it's just easier for us to get there and get back.
Okay.
Nobody likes cold asphalt.
I understand. Thank you. All right, Ms. Vogel.
I don't think I have anything else to add. You guys got the invitation for the memorial program from the high school. That's always a great program. That's May 20th, I believe. I don't have the date in front of me. Is that right? So that's very nice. So hopefully we can all get together and attend that. And yeah, I think that's it.
All right. Fiscal Officer Brush, do you have comments for us this evening? Oh, good. Thank you.
Yes.
Thank you for doing that. All right, Trustee Jackson, what do you have for us?
Yeah, I second what Mr. Brush brought, and I've been asked to participate in that program as well, so I encourage all of you to be involved in that. It's a neat community event and opportunity to pray over all that God is doing in Vandalia and Butler Township, so happy about that opportunity with local churches and faith communities. A few other things to note was happy to be able to stop in at Coffee with a Cop this month, which was cool, and excited to see that ramp back up, and would also just invite residents to come out and visit with our officers and take the opportunity to get connected with them. So I think that that's a neat initiative and something good that Mr. Porter is taking on for us. Also want to let the board know and also just the community that we're excited to be starting a new initiative and something that has been needing to be done. We've done all kinds of various things over the years, but we're trying to ramp back up our efforts to go after litter specifically. And so this Saturday is the start of that. We're calling it the Beautify Butler Project. And a number of volunteers from some churches and others are coming on Saturday from 9 to 11, where we'll be focusing specifically this first time on some problem areas in our business district. But our desire would be that long term we'd see residents really taking on some of the needs that are in the community, and something where we can give back and participate in making our community beautiful and taking that on. So that starts at 9 o'clock on Saturday. We'll start out of the Walmart parking lot, and the manager over there is on board and very helpful as well. So it's grateful to be able to meet them this past week, and we're going to have a good time. So everything will be provided for any residents that want to participate. We'll have the vests and gloves and all the things. So it'll be a neat time. Looking forward to that starting on Saturday, and then hopefully that kind of an initiative working together to see that take place in the community is going to be wonderful. And I believe that's all that I have.
Okay, so we've been working hot and heavy, obviously, with the county for the water program for the airport situation, and obviously I think we're going to be setting up a meeting sometime within the next month with residents again and have some good information on that. And then I am working, Richard, with Greg a little bit, and we're trying to figure out, and so I may pick your brain a little bit on that. So.
All right, so I want to welcome Ms. Grombowski to our BZA. And best wishes to Dr. Zekin, and welcome Dr. Breeding. Mr. Oakes, thank you for all the time that you've put into helping all Vandalia and Butler Township, especially Butler Township. Your comments tonight are duly noted and valuable. So thank you for coming. I want to thank the residents, most of all, who left to come in and share their concerns about the proposed development. And thank everyone else who stayed and is in the audience, because generally we don't have one. So thank you. We know that your time is important, but so is your community. So thank you. Let's see. Do I have a motion to pay the bills?
I make a motion to pay the bills.
All right. Sure. Or all aye or something. All aye?
Aye.
Okay. This adjourns the meeting at 7:12.